Hi, I have another book. We're doing pretty good, about almost one a day now. This one, once again, it's covered up, but it is called, I always forget the first part of it. Yeah, Such a Little Mouse. I can see that the light is glaring on it a little bit. Now you can see the little mouse peeking out from the dandelions. By Alice Schertle. Illustrated by Stephanie Yu. And here is this cute little guy. Let's see if I can adjust this so it's not quite as shiny. There, that looks good. See, isn't he cute? Such a little mouse. Way out in the wide world there is a meadow. And in the middle of the meadow, under a clump of dandelions, there is a hole. Okay, here's a pretty picture. You can see a big meadow, wide open area with grass and trees on the fringes and lots of pretty dandelions. And here we can see the water weaving around there like a little stream or river. And way down deep in the hole, oops, I forgot to point out the hole. I believe that it's right there. A little clump of dandelions and a little bit of dirt, and there's a teeny weeny hole. But we're going to see more of that hole because here it is. Way down deep in the hole lives a mouse. And there's that little hole. He's got a little mailbox with a leaf in front of it and a little sign here. And this is the entrance. The little sign says, Home Sweet Hole. Sometimes people put Home Sweet Home. He put Home Sweet Hole. Such a little mouse with his ears pink as petals, with his smart gray coat, that means his fur, with 3 twitchety whiskers on each side of his nose. There he is. He's got the little pink ears. Here's his gray coat and his 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 whiskers on either side of his nose. Isn't he cute? Every morning in spring, he pops out of his hole. Here he is. 1. Here's his nose peeking out. 2. A little bit more. And then 3. Pop. Out he goes. On 3. Such a little mouse, and off he goes into the wide world. Can you see him on this page? He's looking at a squirrel climbing up the tree, and so there's Birdie there, and there he is. Just a little tiny mouse. He sees a snail climbing up a fern, and he watches the busy bees on the clover blossoms. Busy, busy, buzz, say the bees. And he hears a woodpecker rat-a-tat-a-tat-tat-tat, hammering a tree. There's all those pictures. Here's the snail. Look at, he's kind of laying down on his elbows and watching the snail crawling. And he's watching the bees. He's looking up on the clover. These are clover flowers and their leaves. And he's watching the woodpecker pecking the tree for bugs. Rat-a-tat-tat. And the little mouse looks at himself in a puddle of water and says, Hello, self. There he is. His reflection is in the water. 3 whiskers on every side. Everything the same. Just like a mirror. And when the day is done, he brings a little round seed, probably pretty tiny, home in his mouth, and he packs it away in his storeroom way down deep in his hole. So you can see where he goes in his hole. First, he has this room. That looks like a kitchen, doesn't it? With a place for him to cook and keep his supplies. And here he's going. Oops, I'm sorry, the hole isn't here. The hole is here. Okay. He's going down in the hole. And there he is progressing to this room. Here is the storage room where he's putting the seed. And here is his sleeping room. And they're all connected under the ground. That's a pretty cute little house, isn't it? Well, every morning in summer, remember last time it was every morning in spring. Every morning in summer, 1, 2, 3. He pops out of his hole. 1, 2, 3. And you can see by the scenery it's still very pleasant and warm because that's what it is in summer, right? He pops out of his hole, such a little mouse. Off he goes into the wide world. This is the picture I just showed you. Can you see where Mouse is? Yeah, I bet you can see him peeking out right there. Yeah, soaking up the sun of the summer. He watches the beavers working in a pond. The beavers are going, hi. And look, at the little mouse is helping, bringing some sticks for them as they build their dam, which is like the place where they're going to live. See, there's lots of twigs and sticks here, and he's sharing a little tiny stick and twig. Isn't that nice? He visits a toad who lives under a flower pot. It's dark in here, says the little mouse. That's the way I like it, says the toad. So he's peeking in the top little hole. The pot is upside down, but he's peeking in the upside down part, which is on top, that has a hole. Talking to the toad. First he looked at it, then he peeked in, and then he went down and visited. Yeah. Talking to the toad. He sees a prickly porcupine, and when the day is done, he brings a sprig of watercress. That's a little plant home in his mouth. So there's the prickly watercress, the prickly porcupine, and he's carrying some leaves of watercress. And he's gonna go put him in his house. Look at there, he's crawling into his storage room again. This time they're only showing us his one of the rooms, which is the storage room, where you can see some jars with seeds, where he put the seeds before, and other bags and storage containers where he's going to store up. It says he packs it away in his storeroom, way down deep in his hole. Now, it's the next season that comes after summer, which is autumn or fall. Every morning in autumn, 1, 2, 3, he pops out of his hole. What do you see different in this picture? Lots of leaves on the ground, right? Yeah, it's becoming the fall time of year. Such a little mouse. Off he goes into the wide world. So I showed you a little bit of that, but now you can see the same picture again, but a different season with yellowing, browning, oranging, red coloring leaves. And there's our little mouse friend. He tunnels under piles of leaves. Rustle, rustle, rustle go the leaves. He feels the autumn wind tickle his little whiskers. Winter is coming, whispers the wind. So there he is. He's crawled under a bunch of leaves here. And then he comes out on the other end of a branch. His little twitchy whiskers can feel it. He knows that winter's on its way. He watches the geese flying overhead. Honk, honk, they cry, winter is coming. So he's looking up. They often fly in a V. There they are, flying south for the winter. He sees a line of tiny ants marching along. The little mouse puts his petal pink ear close to the ground. Winter is coming, say the tiny ant voices. So there were the geese flying, and here is he listening to the ants as they march by. And there they come. Winter is coming. Get ready. And when the day is done, he carries an acorn home in his mouth. He packs it away in his storeroom, way down deep in his hole. So there's our cute little friend. That's a heavy acorn for him to carry, isn't it? It's pretty big in proportion to his body size. And then here is his storeroom. You can see some other sprigs of watercress that he put there before, and some bags of stuff. So he's been, the different times we've seen the jars and the different things, there's been less, and now it's really adding up. Now he's got 2 acorns, and the jars of seeds look full. Why does that mouse have to get ready for winter and put things in his storeroom? I bet you have an idea, because in the winter, mice take a little nap, a little hibernation. One morning when the little mouse pops out of his hole, whoop, It is winter. The grass and the flowers and the weeds are gone. Oh, see him peeking out there? Whoops. He can't jump out of his hole anymore. It's covered with snow. Snow covers the meadow and the trees. Brr, says the little mouse. Back he goes down into his warm hole. So there he goes, like, shakes off that snow that was on his head over here. And he goes right back down into his hole. Yeah. What do you think he's going to go to in his hole? Which place first? Well, he gets out of his food supplies and he makes a loaf of acorn bread. And then he makes a seed and watercress soup. So there he is, whipping up some food, making the bread, letting it rise, because you have to do that when you make homemade bread. You put some yeast in it and mix it all up with your flour, and he has acorn flour and other ingredients, and you let it make a big ball of dough, and then you keep it warm and let it rise a little higher in the pan, and then punch it down again, and eventually you put it in the shape of a loaf and put it in the oven to cook. And there the soup is being made, chopping up the watercress, getting everything ready, and cooking it on the stove. Yeah, this is probably, it's hard for me to see upside down, but each step is an important step to making his delicious soup and bread. He snuggles up under a little mouse blanket with a book of mouse tales. Oh, there he is. Look what he's got. A slice of bread, a chunk of bread, and a bowl of soup, and a nice book, and he's cozy on his little mouse blanket, and it looks like a woven pot holder. That's what his little blankie is. Doesn't he look cozy there? Yeah, such a little mouse, all snug and warm, deep down in his hole until spring. So look at, he's there he is, his blankie. His dishes are next to him. Not sure what that is. It almost looks like a vaporizer, but I'm not sure what that's supposed to be next to him. But that's the end of the story. He's going to stay under there until spring, and then when spring comes, he'll start all over again. And we'll see him 1, 2, 3 out of his hole again. That's the spring. The dandelions out and the trees and grass and everything turning greener and greener, and he'll start all over again. So that's the story of Such a Little Mouse. I was going to show you this picture one more time because I think it's really clever about all his little holes where he lives, all the parts of his house. When he goes in this little skinny hole that's just right for his body, he can go to a kitchen, a storeroom, and a bedroom and be very comfy. And that is the end. I hope you enjoyed it. See ya.